From the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy. Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, and welcome to a snowy Wednesday. It is the 5th day of March for 2025. Mike Will, Tyson Havronic here, ready to start your day the right way with all the news, weather, and sports. We'll get you up to date as we kind of join you at the breakfast table here this morning. A lot to talk about in the sports scene here today. Despite a record-breaking performance last night from Bryce Williams, the Nebraska basketball team came up short in their bid to upset Ohio State on the road last night. They went into double overtime and lost 116 to 114. We'll be talking about that coming up on the show here today. Get some comments from Husker head coach Fred Hoiberg. The Nebraska women's basketball team, they'll start play today in the Big Ten Conference Tournament in Indianapolis. The Huskers will play the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers today. The Nebraska volleyball team will participate in the Broadway Block Party hosted by the Nashville Sports Council and ESPN events this upcoming season at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. We'll give you details about that. The baseball team has juggled their schedule for this week. The softball team is getting ready for the Big Red Spring Fling this weekend. Hastings College men's bowling team has received an at-large bid to the national tournament. 8 wrestlers for Hastings College have been placed on the GPAC Women's Wrestling All-Conference teams. The GPAC Basketball Championships were decided last night, and the Girls State High School Basketball Tournament gets underway today in Lincoln. Meanwhile, the Boys District Finals will wrap up tonight, so there's lots to talk about on the sports scene here today as we welcome in Tyson Havronic from the Western Studios. Good morning.
And good morning to you. And as we know, right, so far on as scheduled for that girls basketball tournament, nothing being pushed back, or at least I have not seen any alerts for any changes of start times. Didn't know because of the travel situations. That's going to be a main focus here on the news front here this morning as we kind of get set to dig out. We've got travel issues and travel warnings and closures on Interstate 80 from Grand Island to Ashland. At least that was as of 6:45 this morning. That memo coming from the Department of Roads and Nebraska State Patrol, so we'll dive into that. Also had some power outages around Hastings yesterday with some of the high winds and issues created from the winter storm, to which I'll give a lot of credit to NWS, National Weather Service. Man, I mean, they nailed this puppy really right down to the minute on when this was going to start, and full credit to them. We got an alert from the college yesterday, basically just saying, hey, get your stuff done, get to a good stopping point, and get the hell out of there, because this is going to create some real bad visibility problems, and a lot of us take Highway 6, obviously, to head back into town, and sure enough, right at 3:45, we were able to get out by about 3:30 yesterday. As soon as 4:45 hits, that weather takes a nasty turn. I was playing a little bumper cars, playing a little dodgeball with some recycling bins and tarps that were blowing across the highway, and so I was able to make it home safely. But full credit to NWS for we can give them a lot of guff sometimes for hyping up a storm that doesn't really accumulate too much, but this one they were pretty dead on. And another snow squall warning. We've had 2 in 2 years. I remember driving through the first one. That wasn't a lot of fun. I was happy to be able to get home before that whiteout condition started, because, there's no fun driving through a snow squall. That was the most terrifying drive of my life a year ago, and I was glad I wasn't caught up in it this year.
Yeah, I was in that snow squall last year as well. I was heading to a basketball game up in Grand Island, and you absolutely can't see anything. It's like somebody threw a blanket over your car. Yeah. You just can't see anything. And that happened again yesterday.
And it's so wild because the snow squalls themselves, you have whiteout conditions in a very particular designated area whereas literally 2 blocks over, it can be perfect and fine. It can be clear skies, and that was what it was in Grand Island a year ago. I remember going up on the highway, and as I was crossing into downtown, as soon as I hit the bridge, the whiteout condition stopped, and I'm in my rearview mirror, and I'm looking, and I'm like, man, that was hell. And I'm looking at all these like whiteout conditions, and I'm looking ahead. It was clear sunny skies downtown Grand Island, and I says, you got to be kidding me. This is the weirdest thing. And I showed back-to-back pictures of my boss. He's like, why are you so late? And I'm like, because I couldn't see. And he's like, it's fine. And I showed him the pictures of the highway, and he's like, holy crap.
Yeah, snow squalls.
Snow squalls.
So, we had one.
2 years.
Had one yesterday. Because of the snowy conditions, a lot of the schools, we don't have any closings as of now, but a lot of schools are starting late today. The latest list that I've been able to accumulate, Adams Central starting 2 hours late today. Aurora starting at 10. Most of the Central Community College campuses will be starting class at 10 this morning. Christ Lutheran Elementary in Juniata starting at 10. Donovan Trumbull is on the list. Grand Island Northwest starting at 10, so it's Harvard. And Silver Lake starting at 2 hours late today. So those are some of the schools that we've heard from here this morning. Just a late start, nobody closing. It wasn't a big snow event. It's just the winds were blowing at 50, 60. I think even saw 70 miles per hour yesterday. The wind is blowing around this 1 inch of snow that we got yesterday and causing all kinds of problems. So do take it easy. I've already heard there's been some accidents on 281 between Hastings and Grand Island today. So if you're traveling to work or you're heading up to Grand Island, or Grand Island people coming back down to Hastings, take it easy on Highway 281. There's been some accidents reported on 281 this morning.
And it is super slick conditions as well. We have the conditions obviously with visibility issues and the high winds whipping up that snow. And like you said, it wasn't a big snow event. I don't think we got more than an inch here in Hastings. But when you whip that up and kick that up, it creates that blizzard-like condition. But it's also the roads are super slick out this morning. So if you don't have to get out here in the early part of the morning, really no reason to until we start to get some better conditions on the roads and better conditions with the weather. That's for certain. And for our 10 a.m. start, people, welcome to the lobby. Welcome to Huddle Up. Glad you could join us here this morning as we again uncover and get past this most recent winter storm.
402-834-1330 is our telephone number, 402-834-1330. If you're out driving today and you got a minute or two you'd like to spend with us, give us a call. Let us know what the conditions are around the county or around the city, or if you're out traveling today, give us a call and let us know what the conditions are, 402-834-1330. If you got something sports-related you want to talk about today, that'd be great, too. You want to leave us a message on one of our social media sites, that's a possibility, too. Tyson will monitor those comments from the Western Studios here this morning. So despite all the weather stuff here, the Girls State High School basketball tournament gets underway today in Lincoln. And you're right, it's going to go on as scheduled. I'm sure the state sent out a little memo earlier in the week that you will be here. Make arrangements to make sure you are here on time, and everything is going to go on as scheduled. First round games in classes A, C1, and D1 are scheduled for today.
Yeah, you've got first round getting underway today, and I know that a lot of people made arrangements to get down there and spend overnight in Lincoln. One of our good buddies down south near the Nebraska-Kansas border, he was giving some updates from his hotel room and talking about the drive to get down there. So, yeah, I mean, you just got to make those arrangements, and those games have to get off as scheduled. There's a lot going on with that arena, and trying to get that done as quickly as possible and on schedule so you can move on to boys coming up next week.
Yeah, Minden will play Skonas Central Catholic at 1:30 today at the Devaney Center. Also in action today, Superior. They will take on Alma at 10:45 this morning at PBA. So couple of area teams going to be in action today. Minden, Superior, and Alma all playing on the first day of the girls' state tournament. The rest of the classes, B, C2, and D2, will play their first-round games on Thursday, and then the semifinals and all the classes on Friday, and then the state championship games on Saturday. So we don't have a lot of flavor, which is a lot of local flavor, unusual. I should say, in the state tournament, which is very unusual. Just was not a good year. I couldn't push anybody through sub-district and the district tournament action, but Minden is there, Superior is there, and Alma is there today if you want to take in the girls' state high school basketball tournament down in Lincoln.
Silver Lake, right?
Yeah, Silver Lake, they'll play tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow. Okay, gotcha.
Silver Lake, Wilcox-Hildreth, Shelton. They've all got games scheduled for tomorrow. Shelton and Wilcox-Hildreth will play one another on Thursday, and Silver Lake will play Dorchester
That
tomorrow.
doesn't help the area flavor.
No, it knocks out one team right off the bat. Well, it's the same thing with Superior and Alma.
Yeah.
They're playing each other in the opening round, so that'll knock out one of our local teams right off the bat. So, anyway, we'll keep you up to date on the state high school basketball tournament this week here on Extreme Sports. The boys will swing into action next week. In fact, the boys have got some district finals scheduled for tonight. They've kind of moved things around, dodging the weather this week. Normally, we don't play on the Wednesday that the state basketball tournament opens up, but because of the weather, there's a plethora of games for boys district action tonight. And we might as well recap those. Boys district finals for tonight. Pius will play at Crete. Fillmore Central is at Auburn. West Holt will play at Grand Island Central Catholic. Archbishop Bergen is at Norfolk Catholic. Dundee County Stratton will play East Butler at Kearney High tonight. Archangels Catholic will play Medicine Valley. That game will be at Kearney Catholic. Wausau will play Sand Hills Thetford at Boone Central. And Fullerton will face Garden County at Kearney Catholic tonight. So Kearney Catholic going to be hosting two games in district finals tonight. Last night, one game. Hartington Cedar Catholic ended the season for Sutton as they beat the Mustangs last night by a score of 63-50. So Sutton making the trip in the weather last night, and they lose to Cedar Catholic 63-50. So the season is over for the Sutton Mustangs.
All right, so I got some district final action, state basketball action getting underway on the girls' side of things as we hit the officially postseason home stretch here on things on the high school ranks. College ranks, though, I haven't had a chance to review the film. I'm reading a lot on the games from the comment section, and you have to take this with a grain of salt. But apparently, and people can comment if they stayed up to watch the double overtime game. I went toes up right about the 5-minute mark of the second half. Went bye to bed because I had made that ungrateful decision to lay down on the couch. And was just going to rest my eyes during the commercial break, and next thing I know, the game's over, and I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But from what I was reading on the game, sounds like some really, really suspect officiating in the double overtime period.
I read some of that, too. How far do we take that? I'm tired of blaming the refs all the time when we lose.
Yeah, same.
Win the damn game. Don't be in a position for the refs to make a call like that.
When I coach baseball, like my number one thing, because I'd have players and they were steaming at the ump's call, man, and they'd come off and we'd lose a game, and we'd lose like a 1-run game or something, and they'd be down and they'd be angry and they'd be upset, and they're like, man, if that call wouldn't have been a strikeout, and I'm like, don't put yourself in that position. Like my biggest coaching message to all of my kids was, if you put the game in the umpire's hands, we're going to lose 100% of those games. You got to find ways to win those games. And the same can be said about basketball. And again, I didn't see the tape. I don't know how blown it was. Apparently, there should have been a flagrant foul. Apparently, there was another Ohio State player that slammed the ball down on the court. Like in a double overtime heated matchup in the Big Ten in a must-win game, like those things are going to happen. And I don't know how quote unquote flagrant the foul was or wasn't. But yeah, just reading things like that was the first 100 comments were refs, and I'm like, well, how did we start? How did we finish? Did we have stretches where we didn't play very good basketball that we could have cleaned up? Was there areas defensively where maybe we didn't box somebody out? Or missing key fundamentals in the stretch? I think maybe those factors all added up might contribute to losing a tough game in double OT. Rather than refs.
Defense.
What defense?
What defense?
Points.
116 to 114 last night, double overtime. Highest scoring game in Nebraska school history. It ties the record 230 combined points. Both teams shot over 50% from the floor last night. They combined for 24 three-pointers. Hell, that's like an NBA game.
Yeah, it was.
Bryce Williams finished with 43 points in the game last night, breaking the school mark for points in a game, which was set by Eric Piakowski in 1994. So Nebraska now 17-13 in the season, 7-12 in the Big Ten. They'll close out the regular season Saturday with a game against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Tip-off for the game will be at 11:30. So we talked about it in the show yesterday. Mm-hmm. If we weren't on the bubble before, we are now.
Oh, I think we're now on the outside of the bubble. I got to be honest with you. Iowa is a must-win, and no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Iowa is a must-win coming up this weekend, and I still say finish top 8, make a run at this thing in the Big Ten. Leave no reason to doubt your resume, but we're going to have to pull off an upset in that Big Ten basketball tournament.
We're going to have to at least win a game. I think in the tournament, and maybe
two. I think a game and an upset.
Well, that'd be the second round, probably.
Yeah.
So you're saying we need to win at least 2?
Yeah.
To get in.
Mm-hmm. And we shouldn't be in this position. We had an opportunity to take care of business.
No, one time we were talking about an 8th seed not more than 10 days ago.
Yeah.
We finished the season on a downward spiral, and we're not playing very well. Last night it sounded like we played a lot better. You're going to hear comments from the coach coming up here in a little bit. We played better last night, but we still lost the game. Bottom line is we lost the game, 116 to 114. They don't give us points for scoring a lot of points in the game.
What I saw in the early portion of that basketball game, and again we'll call it what it is first about 55 minutes and change in that basketball game, I saw a team that was committed. I saw a team that was playing with a sense of urgency. I think they know what's at stake, and they were playing like this game was to put them into the postseason. And I think really when you take a look at things and you take a look at big picture, it probably was. I think you win that game, and I think you can breathe a little bit easier. I still think you need to take care of business and pick up the win against Iowa this weekend. But woulda, coulda. But you mentioned the whole 10 days thing. 10 days ago, we're talking about an 8 seed. 10 days before that, we were doom and gloom and talking about, well, this was going to be just another miserable basketball season, and how do we salvage a 6-game losing streak? 10 days before the 6-game losing streak, hell, we were talking about this team being in the top 25, so they've strapped us in for a hell of a roller coaster this season, and I'm hoping that we're going to go back on the upswing here to close things out. You got Iowa, you got your first round of the Big Ten tournament, and again, if I want a resume lock, if we want one more on the resume, when you pull up Nebraska basketball and you take a look at the matchups we've lost and the games we should have had versus the quality wins, another one in that Big Ten tournament, I think gets you there. Another win versus a ranked team, another quote unquote upset victory, but I think we need 3 in a row.
All right, 402-834-1330. If you watched the game last night, so you got some thoughts on the Huskers' performance last night, we'd love to chat with you since neither one of us saw the end of the game. Yeah.
Did you know what was up to?
Oh, yeah, way early. Way early. So neither one of us saw the end of the game. So your thoughts, if you made it all the way to the end, give us a call, 402-834-1330. Leave us a message on one of the social media sites, and we'll monitor those comments as well. Lots of people hanging out in the lobby today, as lots of people getting maybe late starts to work or school here today. And again, thanks for joining us. You're listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports at 720.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
Kudos, by the way, Mike, to the back timing skills. You hit that dead on at 7:20. You couldn't have been more perfect. Let's get into the news, shall we? Winter storm rolls through central Nebraska yesterday. You might still be able to hear some of the after effects with the wind here this morning. Travel not advised in eastern Nebraska today. Anything in the metro area due to the high winds, which is causing limited visibility. Most roadways in the eastern half of the state still snow and ice covered. As of 6:45 this morning, Interstate 80 from Greenwood to Grand Island does remain closed. The State Patrol made the call to close the interstate last night because of multiple crashes and blizzard conditions. High winds led to some power disruptions last night in Hastings. Hastings Utilities Facebook page reporting 3 separate incidents in the 1000 block of Hewitt Avenue. A crossarm had broken and the pole top burned down. There was a blown arrestor between 11th and 12th Streets on Hewitt Avenue, and a corresponding circuit breaker took power out for a large area of West Hastings. And then up north on South Shore Drive and Osborne Drive West, line crews found fuses hanging at 22nd and Burlington, and on 18th Street, lines whipping in the wind, likely causing the power issues. And we head over to the state capitol with domestic violence fresh on the minds of central Nebraskans. The Nebraska legislature taking some small steps to aid survivors, as a bill to help those fleeing dangerous situations pay for housing has advanced out of committee. The legislature's Revenue Committee voting 8-0 yesterday to advance a bill that would provide rent and utility payments for survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking. Senator Elliot Bostar of Lincoln said the idea is to help people make a successful transition out of dangerous situations. It is coming up on 7:23 here this morning. We'll swing things back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's the haps in sports?
Well, we've been talking about the Nebraska basketball game last night. They lose to Ohio State 116-114 in double overtime. Bryce Williams with 43 points in the game last night, breaking the school mark for points in a game, which was set by Eric Piakowski back in 1994. Huskers are now 17-13 on the season, 7-12 in the conference. They'll close out the regular season on Saturday with a game against Iowa. Tip-off will be at 11:30. The Nebraska women's basketball team will play Rutgers today in the first round of the Big Ten Conference Tournament in Indianapolis. It'll be the second game of 3 today in Indy. The first game at 3:30 will have Washington playing Minnesota, followed by Nebraska and Rutgers at about 5:30. And then Iowa will take on Wisconsin in the nightcap. The Nebraska volleyball team will participate in the Broadway Block Party hosted by the Nashville Sports Council and ESPN events this upcoming season at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. The event will feature 3 matches between the Big Ten and the SEC. The Huskers will play Kentucky on Sunday, August 31st at 11 o'clock in the morning on ABC. Second match will pit Purdue against Tennessee, followed by Illinois against Vanderbilt. The Broadway Block Party is the second marquee non-conference event announced in the last week. The Huskers are set to host the AVCA First Serve Showcase at Pinnacle Bank Arena August 22nd through the 24th. Nebraska will face Pittsburgh and Stanford in that event, giving the Big Red 3 matches in the first 10 days of the season against teams who finished in the top 8 of the 2024 AVCA Coaches Poll. The Nebraska baseball team has canceled their game with South Dakota State scheduled for tonight. Huskers will play Washington in a 3-game series coming up this weekend. The Nebraska softball team will host the Big Red Spring Fling this weekend. Huskers will play Northern Colorado on Thursday, Northern Iowa and South Dakota State on Saturday, and another game against Northern Iowa on Sunday. Hastings College men's bowling team has received an at-large bid to the NAIA Men's Bowling National Championships to be held March 20th through the 22nd in Sterling Heights, Michigan. It'll be the 5th national appearance for the Broncos. 8 Hastings College wrestlers are included in the GPAC Women's Wrestling All-Conference teams. Larissa Kaz, Reagan Galloway, and Marissa Patterson are included on the first team. Ruby Guerrero, Tabitha Wood, Emma Stice, Izzy Deeds, and Taylor Rickley are on the second team. Morningside has won the GPAC men's postseason basketball tournament. The Mustangs beat Concordia 82-77 last night in Seward. In the women's championship, Dordt defeated Briar Clough 77-54. The girls' state high school basketball tournament gets underway today in Lincoln. First-round games in classes A, C1, and D1. Minden will play Scotus Central Catholic at 1:30 today at the Devaney Center. At Pinnacle Bank Arena, Superior will play Alma at 10:45. Boys District Finals will wrap up tonight with several games going on throughout the state. Last night, Cedar Catholic defeated Sutton by the score of 63-50. That's a check on your sports headlines at 7:26.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
That big storm system that brought us all the wind is leaving us with some residual wind on this Wednesday morning, but the good news is the winds will diminish throughout the day. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. A high of 40 degrees today. We'll see winds tonight out of the northwest about 5 to 10. Overnight tonight, clear skies, 23 is the overnight low. Then on Thursday, we're a high of 50, but then we bring in chances for some light snow Thursday night into Friday, but by the time we get to the weekend, we're back into the 50s and even 60s.
Right now, as you wake up, get going this morning, north winds at 25, gusting to 44. We've got cloudy skies at 25 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the advanced funeral planning specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Extreme Sports has been bringing you the exclusive home of Hastings College Athletics, and we're just getting started. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and your support, Extreme Sports 2 has been a huge success, and now we're excited to announce the launch of Extreme Sports 3. With Extreme Sports 3, you'll get even more local sports coverage. Plus, 24/7 access to Sports by Line, where you'll hear the best in national sports talk. Whether it's Hastings College, high school action, or the latest from around the sports world, we've got it covered across all 3 streams. And don't forget, when we're not broadcasting games, join us weekday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for Huddle Up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronik. It's the perfect way to start your day with sports, news, weather, and great local interviews. So tune in, check out all 3 streams, and stay with us for even more sports coverage coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors for making it all possible, and to you, our listeners, for keeping Extreme Sports strong.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson Havronik with you on this Wednesday morning, the 5th day of March. Again, we've got some school issues today because of the weather conditions. No closings as of yet. Adams Central starting 2 hours late today. Aurora starting at 10 this morning. Most of the campuses, Hastings, Holdridge, Kearney, Lexington. Who else we got here? Ord.
CCC.
Yep, CCC, all those campuses starting classes at 10 this morning. Christ Lutheran Elementary School in Juniata starting at 10. Donovan Trumbull starting at 10. GI Northwest also on the list for a 10 o'clock start. Harvard starting at 10. Silver Lake starting 2 hours late today. So that gets you up to date as far as the schools are concerned. 7:31. Again, take it easy on the roads. We've been talking about that in the first half hour here. Slippery road conditions today and gusty winds, 45 miles per hour, causing some problems with visibility and things like that.
And we've got an update on road conditions coming in from Twitch. It said semis on both sides of 281 by the Travel Center. Looking west, going over I-80, semis were along the interstate as far as the eye could see. Again, Nebraska State Patrol shutting down the interstate last night between Grand Island and Ashland due to the low visibility and multiple crashes. And I'm sure we'll have more reports on those crashes as the day progresses today. But yeah, as far as the eye can see, semis lunged up along the interstate, waiting to get the green light to resume travel. And so that's coming into us via Twitch. We also had another Facebook comment, and we'll get into some comments here from Fred Hoiberg to get his perspective on the 116-114 double OT loss to Ohio State. But the Chief chimes in. He was able to burn the midnight oil, stay up for both overtime periods, and said Huskers should have won. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Bryce Williams with the ball for 99.9% of the overtime session. He said other position players need to step up. It's got to be more than Bryce.
He had a hell of a night last night, too. 43 points, but
43.
It's a losing cause.
Yeah.
230 points again, combined points, tied a school record. I don't know if that's anything to be proud of.
If you would have had the overs, it would be.
116-114 last night, Ohio State winning. After the ball game, Coach Fred Hoiberg says, despite the loss, he's proud of his team.
I thought they really went out and battled and fought. I thought their resiliency was great, especially early when Ohio State hit some tough shots on us. And we kept fighting. We didn't have any head hanging like I saw in the last game where we dug ourselves that big hole where, 8 points got all the way up to 19. Today we kept fighting, kept swinging, kept clawing, and that's what got us back in the game. Even at the end when they went up 2 possessions, I didn't see, anybody out there with any quit at all in their game. And, that's what we got to do. I know we got one opportunity left in front of us. We got to go out there and you play our best game of the year, play our best 40 minutes. But, yes, this last week has been incredibly difficult. You lose 3 games essentially on the last possession. And, and I'll say this, Bryce Williams, if that doesn't lock up first-team All-Big Ten, I don't know what else he can do. He was absolutely phenomenal. And, he's been our best free throw shooter, one of the best in the country. And you got your guy up there. And not only that, but he's been a clutch free throw shooter. And, unfortunately, that last one just rims out. And that happens. But, we kept going, and he was incredible in the overtimes to keep us in that thing. So, I'm proud of our guys for their effort, but we got to get over it quick. And I know I say that a lot, but, we got a huge one coming up this weekend.
Nebraska had a run in the second half where they scored on 13 straight possessions. And the coach says they did some nice things offensively in this game.
I thought our execution was really good. I thought our pace was great in the half court, even getting it up in the full court on throw aheads, making the extra one. I think we got Sam in the corner on a three, and, Bryce coming off of ball screens and flow before the defense was set. And I thought our cutting, we got some easy baskets tonight. Maybe it was because Tominaga was in the building. We haven't had a lot of easy baskets since he left. But, we just... our force I thought was really good, and I thought we made the right play when they started double teaming Bryce. He got the ball to Andrew in the pocket, and Andrew had a couple nice finishes in there. We got it to Connor when he had it going. I thought Jawan was really efficient tonight as well. So, again, this is a really good team. A very talented roster. Ohio State, give them credit for finding a way. But our guys did a lot of good things tonight.
And the coach says Ohio State is just one of those teams that's tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're really talented. They've got an incredible roster. Jake does a really good job with these guys, running good action for them. And when they're making shots, they're tough to beat. And when they get, I think 82 is their number. They haven't lost much when they get to that. And I looked up there with about 5 minutes left, and I think they were at their number. So, again, our guys, the resiliency we showed, the fight. The spirit, we got to take that on to the next one against Iowa. And again, if you do that, like I said, anything can happen. Once postseason basketball starts, that's the beauty of our game. It's the beauty of our sport. So, we got to get over it. And, we're staying over because of the weather back home. And, we'll get a game plan started on Thursday.
So the Huskers dropping one last night to Ohio State, 116-114, double overtime, play Iowa on Saturday. One last day of prep, though. They're staying over in Columbus, Ohio last night because of the weather and travel conditions. So one last day to prepare for the Iowa Hawkeyes, but they'll get back home and put a game plan together for this Saturday.
Yeah, putting the game plan together, and like he said, it's now or never here for Nebraska basketball. We got to have our best 40 minutes going up against the Hawkeyes, and we got to take that and we got to move that into the postseason. We got to move that into your first round Big Ten tournament. There's no more opportunity to come out sluggish. There's no more opportunity to, quite frankly, and I know this sounds drastic, but there's no breathing room left. You've got to play intense postseason basketball here for a good 3-game stretch, and try to will yourself into this postseason. There's going to be a lot of topsy-turvy things that can happen, and a lot of makeup and shakeup of the last 4 in, last 4 out, last 4 buys, last 4 out. These bracketologists, you can put all this out, all this information out, but until the ball gets tipped off during the conference tournament time, we're not going to know a whole lot until the results start coming in and the dust gets settled here. So I think still a lot to play for. I think the NCAA basketball tournament still is on the table, but we're going to need to win a few games, and we'll see if we can't get that going this weekend against our rivals.
402-834-1330 is our telephone number if you want to chime in, anything we're discussing or anything on your mind here today. Weather conditions, road conditions. If you're out and about, want to give us a call, let us know what's going on out there. We'd appreciate that. Again, 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. If you'd like to leave us a message on our social media sites, we're monitoring all those as well. I want to make you part of our show here today as we kind of join you at the breakfast table to get you out the door here this morning. One other thing, we were talking about college basketball. The nation's number 1 ranked team, Auburn, they lost last night to 22nd ranked Texas A&M. Aggies beat the Tigers 83-72. It's the Aggies' first win ever over a number 1 ranked team. Auburn has held the top spot in the AP poll for 8 straight weeks. They've been the unanimous number 1 choice for the top spot for 2 consecutive weeks. And this comes just a few days after the Tigers clinched the Southeastern Conference Championship with a win over Kentucky on Saturday. So they come out and throw up a little bit of a stinker last night against Texas A&M as the Aggies upset the nation's number 1 ranked team, the Auburn Tigers, 83-72. So, hey, Duke takes care of business this weekend. Your team could be on top of the poll next week.
Yeah, and I was just going to take a look here with Duke, and they take care of business. I think the number one overall seed certainly is within their grasp for the Blue Devils to take, but they're going to have to run through a pretty tough conference tournament as well in the ACC conference tournament. But the topsy-turviness of the SEC continues. There's another big game on over the course of the next 2 days, however, for Auburn. Alabama has Florida tonight. That is a 7-5 matchup. And then coming up on Saturday, Auburn is going to play Alabama. So Alabama's got two top 10 teams to close out their season. Meanwhile, you can take a look and say, well, yeah, Duke, all they got to do is take care of business. But lo and behold, all they got to do is take care of business against their big rivals coming up Saturday. Duke, North Carolina is the 5:30 slate. I don't care what the records are. You put Duke and North Carolina in the same arena, you're in for an absolute war. So Duke's got a tough one to end the stretch. Sunday wraps up with Michigan State. And so there's going to be some pretty good college basketball here before the conference tournaments start up. The rivalry weekend is in full slate. I don't know if this was intentional by NCAA basketball, but Alabama, Auburn, Duke, North Carolina, Michigan State, Nebraska, Iowa, all the big rivalry matchups here before the conference tournament begins. It should be a fun weekend for college hoops for sure.
LeBron James also in the news today.
Why?
James of the Los Angeles Lakers, the first player to score 50,000 points in his career in the regular season and postseason combined. He did it last night with 34 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists in the Lakers' 136-115 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. James is the league's all-time leader in regular season and postseason scoring. He has scored 41,871 points during the regular season. He tacked on another 8,162 points in the playoffs. So he's the first player ever to go over 50,000 points in his career for the regular season and the postseason combined. He did it last night in the ball game against the Pelicans. You're not a LeBron James fan, I take it.
The tree falls in the forest theory for me, man. Like MJ's still the GOAT. I don't care what y'all say. Got a message in from Coach. He chimes in here this morning. First time listener, knowledgeable, informative. He's excited to be on board in the lobby. So thanks, Coach Ahrens, for being a first time listener here this morning.
He can be on the show because maybe.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah, I don't know if he's listening in his classroom. Maybe Sutton's getting a late start today too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and call in sometime when you have some free moment, and we can do a catch up on the show, and it would be great to hear from him and get some perspective on all things sports. He's a big Cowboys fan, so during the course of the football season, he can chime in. I know he's a big Yankees fan for baseball, so certainly we'll have something to talk about with Aaron Judge and that squad. But
he's the golf coach at Sutton.
He's also a golf coach.
Yeah, so when we get into that season, we'll get the coach on, talk about Sutton golfers. One other thing, and you and I were kind of on the same bandwagon late in the NFL season as far as Saquon Barkley is concerned. We thought maybe he should be the MVP. Well, he didn't get the MVP.
Nope.
But the Eagles are rewarding him with a historic season with a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension. Makes him the highest-paid running back in NFL history. Guaranteed $36 million at signing time. He's going to get another additional $15 million in incentives and escalators. So Saquon Barkley being awarded for his great season he had last year. Probably should have had the rushing record, but he sat out the last week of the season.
Yep.
Just a couple of hundred yards shy of the record. He would have had that. Mm-hmm. But they reward him. He's going to be making good bank here. 2 years, $41.2 million.
Yeah, good for Saquon, and good to see Saquon have a healthy year. I think I mentioned that a couple different times. He's been towards the top of my elite running backs in terms of draft strategy for fantasy football. It's backfired over the course of a couple seasons because of health issues. This time he finally puts a full season together, and we saw what it can do. It can literally take and carry a team all the way into the Super Bowl and get them a Super Bowl victory. So congrats to Saquon Barkley for making your bank. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Metro in New York, the Jets have cut ties with Davante Adams. They were trying to look to trade him away. Didn't sound like they had any good offers. They've just severed ties. He's now on waivers. Jets cutting the star wide receiver that they went out and got to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. We all know how that unfolded for New York this season, as the Jets had another miserable season for their fan base. Speaking of fan bases, Lou Dog chiming in with a message to Coach, saying, "Poor team choices, Coach," with the Yankees and the Cowboys. Lou Dog, our Chiefs and Cubs resident fan.
So Davante Adams is gone. The Jets are basically undoing what they did 2 years ago when they went all in for Aaron Rodgers. He was acquiring some of the Green Bay Packers wide receivers. So Davante Adams is gone. Alan Lazard is also expected to be traded or released by the Jets before the league year begins on March the 12th. So a couple of Aaron Rodgers' favorite receivers in Green Bay that moved on to the New York Jets are going to be off of the team. Rodgers not playing for the Jets next year. He's being courted now by, I see, the New York Giants and maybe the Las Vegas Raiders.
Ew.
That's could be some stopping points for Aaron Rodgers if he decides to play next season. The Giants and the Raiders. The Raiders are interesting. They got to do something.
Sure.
The Raiders. They had Gardner Minshew. Yeah, move up, draft one.
Draft one.
But then you're starting all over with a rookie in there. Do you get a veteran in there and then draft a quarterback and have this veteran tutor him for a while? That's probably the best scenario, but do the Raiders have time to pull that off?
I don't think so, because right now, I got to be honest with you, like looking at the offseason as we start to get ready for what's going to be a wild period. This is officially, I think, the start of like franchise tag day, where you start to franchise tag those players and you start to get in some of those negotiations. You start to make cuts to your roster and see some of the players, big names that are going to hit free agency. But everything I've been reading from the NFL experts think that the AFC West, with the season Denver had, they exceeded expectations. And so Denver is now in a position where they're going to try to push. The LA Chargers are in a position where they're going to try to push this offseason and make big grabs to get big names to get into that arms race. Everybody now knows who Mr. Jones is in the AFC, and they want to be like the Jones. So I think the Raiders don't have the time to go with the veteran, nurturing, maturing strategy. I think you trade up, you go out and you get a Cam Ward, and you bring in a playmaker and a guy that's going to be able to, he's going to take his lumps, but when you take a look long term, you've got your guy, and that's one position on the football field that you don't have to worry about. You take care of the offensive line. You go out and you get some guys in the offseason. You got some weapons around him. I think that he's going to be able to utilize. But if I'm the Raiders, I'm drafting up, and I'm trading up because, like you said, I think this is going to be an absolute arms race in the AFC West, and without a doubt in my mind, the top divisions in football come next year are going to be AFC West with Kansas City, Denver, LA Chargers all making moves. Washington exceeding expectations in the NFC East. I think you've got Philly already there. Dallas isn't going to sit on their hands. You know that. Dallas is going to be in a race to go get some players and to make that a 3-team horse race. And then, look at what the NFC North did last year. with the Vikings exceeding expectations. In Detroit, man, they don't have to do anything. They're solid. And what's Green Bay going to do? Well, not sit on their hands and do nothing. Chicago will probably stub their toe trying to make a move because that's what Chicago does. But I see the three toughest divisions in football and the three teams that make the most noise this offseason in the AFC West, the NFC Central, or the NFC North, excuse me, and the NFC East.
Just doing a lot of reading the past couple of days. Backup quarterbacks that are on existing rosters and are expected to be free agents that could be of interest to some teams. Carson Wentz, the backup for Patrick Mahomes at Kansas City. Don't expect him to stay in that role. So Carson Wentz could be available. Dan Jones, I wouldn't call him an upper-tier quarterback.
No.
But Dan Jones, he's had some good moments in the NFL. He is going to be available. Jared Stidham, he's a backup quarterback right now that could provide some strength for some teams looking for a quarterback, such as the Las Vegas Raiders. And there's a lot of other backup quarterbacks out there that have carried the clipboard for 2 to 3 years that might be ready to take on a new role with an NFL team.
Has Carson Wentz just not had the best job over the last couple of years, being the backup to Pat Mahomes?
Well, he has. He's only played a couple of mop-up series. He might have been in taking a snap, taking a knee at the end of a game. He played the final game of the regular season against Denver, and didn't play very well. But none of the starters were playing with him. So
yeah, I don't think it's due to Carson Wentz's ability, man. I think you've got a starting quarterback in a backup role that could easily get back into the driver's seat and put the helmet on and lead a team to some success. I think Wentz is very much probably off the market and maybe off the Kansas City radar because I think you'll have some very interested teams come around him for quarterback time. Like I said, I'm just curious to see what this draft is going to make up and shake up. I'm curious to see why you take a look at this big board and Travis Hunter is as low as he is and Gentry is as low as he is and how you don't see what the NFL Combine and what he could bring. Saquon Barkley he just proved it. There's been a lot of talk NFL has become a passing league and you got to be able to throw the football, and running backs are kind of becoming extinct. Certainly, we've seen the fullback wash up and dry up. But Saquon proved that a good, strong running game is the key to making some decent runs in the postseason. That Philadelphia Eagles team does not make the postseason if Saquon Barkley's not in that backfield, and I'll stand by that comment. Why wouldn't you go after an elite running back who has all of the upside of Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith that we've seen in the last 30 years, and he's sitting down in the draft board?
We've been saying it now for 6 months now.
Run the damn ball.
And you got to do that with Saquon Barkley and the others.
We're gonna get Extreme Sports shirts for next year.
It says "Run the damn ball."
Run the damn ball. Give me some damn wings.
Oh. Yeah, we could have a "Run the damn ball" in the front, and we could have this. Just give me some damn chicken wings, will you? We could have that on the back.
Perfect.
We'll get our guys up at Pro Team in Grand Island working on that.
Hopefully, they're already on it.
That'd be one of the best selling T-shirts ever.
Oh, I think so. Run the damn ball, give me some damn wings, which is with a little Extreme Sports logo and an next to it.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, all day.
Oh, E-Man and Roofster, they'll be all over that.
It.
All right, 7:53. You're waking up with Mike and Tyson this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
And a good morning as we approach 5 minutes until 8 o'clock here on this Ash Wednesday. Let's get you a look at your local news headlines here for this morning. Most of it dealing with the impacts from last night's winter storm, as travel still not advised in eastern Nebraska today due to the high winds causing limited visibility. Most roadways in the eastern half of the state snow and ice covered. As of 6:45 this morning, Interstate 80 from Greenwood to Grand Island remained closed. The State Patrol made the call last night because of multiple crashes and blizzard conditions. Meanwhile, high winds led to some power outages and disruptions last night in Hastings, as the Hastings Utilities Facebook page reported at least 3 separate incidents. First, in the 1000 block of Hewitt Avenue, where a cross arm had broken and the pole top burned down. There was also a blown arrestor between 11th and 12th Streets between Hewitt Avenue, and a corresponding circuit breaker opened that took power out for a large area of West Hastings, including the Western Studios last night. And up north in South Shore Drive, on Osborne Drive East, line crews found fuses hanging at 22nd and Burlington and at 18th Street. Lines whipping in the wind, likely causing the power issues there. And at the state capitol, with domestic violence fresh on the minds of central Nebraskans, the Nebraska legislature taking some small steps to aid survivors, as a bill to help those fleeing dangerous situations pay for housing has advanced out of committee. The legislature's Revenue Committee voting 8-0 yesterday to advance a bill that would provide rent and utility payments for survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking. Senator Elliot Bostar of Lincoln said the idea is to help make a successful transition out of dangerous situations. It's 5 till 8. Let's head back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's the haps in sports?
Well, despite a record-breaking performance from Bryce Williams, Ohio State outlasted Nebraska 116-114 in double overtime last night in Columbus, Ohio. The Huskers and the Buckeyes traded blows in the highest scoring game in school history, as the 230 combined points tied a school record for most combined points in a game. Both teams shot over 50% from the field and combined for 24 three-pointers. Williams ended up scoring 43 points in the game, breaking the school mark for points in a game, which was set by Eric Piakowski in 1994. Nebraska now 17-13 in the season, 7-12 in the Big Ten Conference. They'll close out the regular season on Saturday with a game against Iowa. Tip-off will be at 11:30. The Nebraska women will play Rutgers today in the first round of the Big Ten Conference Tournament in Indianapolis. Game time is approximately 5:30 today. The Nebraska volleyball team will participate in the Broadway Block Party hosted by the Nashville Sports Council and ESPN Events this upcoming season at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. The event will feature 3 matchups between the Big Ten and the SEC. The Huskers will play Kentucky on Sunday, August 31st at 11 on ABC. The Nebraska baseball team has canceled their game with South Dakota State scheduled for tonight. They'll play a 3-game series against Washington this weekend. The Nebraska softball team will host the Big Red Spring Fling this weekend. They've got 4 games scheduled for this weekend. Hastings College men's bowling team has received an at-large bid to the NAIA Men's Bowling National Championships to be held at the end of March up in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Morningside won the GPAC Men's Postseason Basketball Tournament last night. They beat Concordia 82-77. In the Women's Championship, Dordt defeated Briar Cliff 77-54. The Girls State High School Basketball Tournament gets underway today in Lincoln with first-round games in Classes A, C1, and D1. Minden will play Scotus Central Catholic at 1:30 today at the Devaney Center. Meanwhile, at Pinnacle Bank Arena today, Superior will take on Alma at 10:45. That's a check in your sports headlines at 7:58.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
That big storm system that brought us all the wind is leaving us with some residual wind on this Wednesday morning, but the good news is the winds will diminish throughout the day. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. A high of 40 degrees today. We'll see winds tonight out of the northwest about 5 to 10. Overnight tonight, clear skies, 23 is the overnight low. Then on Thursday, we're a high of 50, but then we bring in chances for some light snow Thursday night into Friday, but by the time we get to the weekend, we're back into the 50s and even 60s.
Right now, we've got north winds at 25, gusting to 44. It is cloudy, and it's 25 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
Conant Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Conant Auto Care is here for you.
All right, you're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. Huddle up on Extreme Sports for this Wednesday. Got you through the hour. A lot of stuff going on here with state basketball going on in Lincoln today. The Nebraska men licking their wounds after their loss last night to Ohio State. The Nebraska women going to be in action today in the Big Ten Conference basketball tournament in Indianapolis. Been talking about a lot about the men trying to make the tournament. Mm-hmm. I think the women are in the same situation. We're kind of on the bubble, maybe on the outside looking in. So the Husker women, they need to pick up a win or two here down the stretch to maybe solidify their chances of making the big dance on the women's side of things.
Let's pick up a couple dubs on the women's side and steer clear of that bubble talk, I think. A couple more quick notes to pass along here on the show for purposes of our listeners and viewers today. Highway 34 in Hamilton County has both lanes blocked. This is about an hour ago from the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Both lanes blocked between F Road and G Road. That is on Highway 34. So again, travel really not advised in the eastern side of the state and apparently up north as well, causing some problems. Also, a tip of the cap and a special shout out to Peyton Sullivan of St. Cecilia. She has announced that she will be playing volleyball at Wayne State. So congratulations to Peyton Sullivan and congratulations to Britt Prince. She has made Big Ten All-Freshman team, honorable mention, all Big Ten as well. Your viewing guide tonight, you got Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. He is now 10 goals away from the great one, Wayne Gretzky, in that all-time goals record race. The Capitals will take on the New York Rangers at 6:30 on TNT, and a plethora of good college basketball as well. 5:30, make it Maryland and Michigan on the Big Ten Network. Battle of two top 25 teams and a big top 10 battle in the SEC at 6 on ESPN2 as the Gators will try to chomp their way through the Crimson Tide.
All right, that's some of the things going on tonight. Again, take it easy on the roads. If you're out traveling throughout the day today, the winds are expected to die down later on in the day, so things will be improving as the day wears on, but take it easy out there. Enjoy this Wednesday. Again, if you'd like to listen to the show again, you can just go to our social media sites. You'll find the podcast section. You can click on today's date and get a replay of the show, even if you've got the Roku TV app. There's a spot on there where you can listen to the show again, so you can do that in your spare time today. We'll do it again tomorrow morning at 7. Thanks for joining us on Extreme Sports.
You've been listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports.